Okay, so getting back to, just clever ways that I've come up to put a judge in a leash. I'm in the city of Lakewood in front of Judge Elliott, I think it was, and I filed a motion because I wanted him to give me a copy of the dispatch tape, and they wanted $10 down there in the Lakewood Police Department, and I filed a motion I want it for free. The judge held a hearing. He goes, "No," he says, "you can find $10 somewhere." I said, "Judge, I didn't even have breakfast this morning. I'm so poor. I'm practically living here at the court." And he goes, "No, you can find $10. It's only $10. Motion denied." And I'm like, okay, so I left. The next day I go back, and I sit in the back of his courtroom, and he does all the people that are there for whatever traffic cases and stuff, and he gets all done, and he looks back, and he goes, "Mr. Smith, what are you here for?" And I said, "I'm here to get a copy of that dispatch tape." He goes, "I ruled on that yesterday." I go, "Well, yeah, but couldn't you change your mind?" And he goes, "Oh, okay." And so he gave me an order to go get the dispatch tape for free. And, another time I'm in Adams County, and I'm in front of a judge there, and I show up on the day of trial, and I guess I should say I kind of set this up in advance, but I show up on the day of trial, and the judge says, "Mr. Smith," she says, "I note for the record that you don't have counsel. Are you doing so knowingly and willingly?" And I leaned out over the desk, and I made my mouth. I'm doing it like this slow. I go, "No." And she slaps her desk, and she goes, "Well, what are we going to do about that?" And I said, "I don't know." I said, "I went down to the public defender's office, and I tried to get a public defender to represent me, but they said because my shoes were too new that they wouldn't represent me, and so they weren't willing to do it." And I says, I don't think we need to do anything. I think that the prosecutor needs to do something." And she goes, "What do you think the prosecutor needs to do?" I said, "Well, I think the prosecutor needs to tell the court that she's not going for jail time in this case." And she looks over at the prosecutor and she goes, "You going for jail time in this case?" And she goes, "Oh, no, Judge, this is just a traffic case." I said, "There, that solves that." Later, the judge goes, I pointed out to her that she couldn't put me on probation. And she goes, "Well, I guess that's right. Because of the way that was done, I see your point." And she had to take me off probation. So let's see. What's another one where? Oh, how about this? I was coming into the city of Lakewood, and I got arrested, and they gave me a bond, and I had to go back in front of Judge Elliott because when he sentenced me, he goes, "Fine's $85. Go see the clerk." So I went down the hall, and I looked in, and I saw the clerk, and I left. I did what he said. And so then he issues a warrant for my arrest, so I get arrested on the warrant. Plus, I get a speeding ticket and expired plates. So they take me back to the city of Lakewood for 2 counts of failure to appear. And they send the speeding ticket and the expired plate over to, what county is that? What's Golden? Jeffco. Yeah, they sent me to Jeffco. And so I get to looking at that, and I'm like, I see a plan. And I made up the terms of my bond for the city of Lakewood was that I not leave the state without permission of the court. And I wanted to go to New Mexico. So I made up this wonderful motion. It looked like a lawyer wrote it, of course. And I said, on such and such a date, I need to go to New Mexico to hold a seminar, whatever. And my bond terms are that I not leave the state without permission, and so I'm requesting permission. I'll be back on such and such a date. I took it to the clerk there in Jeffco, and I said, "Yeah, I was wondering if you would get permission from the judge for me to leave the state. Here's my motion." And I don't even know why I should have to file a motion. I said, the speeding is a Class A traffic infraction, and the expired plate is a Class A traffic infraction, and neither one of them is arrestable. I should have never been arrested. And now, see, the thing is, if I file a motion, then there'll be an investigation, And then they'll find out what went on over in Lakewood, that I really was arrested on the outstanding warrant, right? And then not only that, but the judge just hates to grant motions for pro ses. And so I'll be up against all this resistance. So that's what I'm doing. I'm kind of coming in, on the sly. I go, I don't even think I should have been arrested. She goes, go sit in the courtroom. Let me ask the judge. She goes in. Pretty soon she comes into the courtroom through the official door, And she goes, Mr. Smith, she says, your case has been dismissed. And she says, you could have this for your records. And so the judge saw a chance to clean one off. Bam, she dismissed the charges, and I'm out of there. So these are the kind of little sneaky things I do. And basically, what's on this disc, Judge on a Leash, is 8 motions. And for those of you who are inexperienced in court, when you go to court, you start out with the judge like this. He loves attorneys and the government. If your opponent's an attorney or government and you're there without an attorney, obviously you wouldn't be government in their eyes. He starts out like this. I mean, they're going to win. And so what I've done is I've figured out, okay, here's how we take the judge from right here, and we move him to, I kind of like you. And it incorporates 3 scriptural principles, I think. The first one is, if your brother offends you, you go to him personally. So you wait until the judge does something wrong. And so Code of Judicial Conduct is a good source to find things where the judge does things wrong. If he says, be quiet, it's like, wait a second, Code of Judicial Conduct says that you're supposed to give everyone in your courtroom a full and fair opportunity to be heard. If he treats you rudely, it says, like, wait a second, Code of Judicial Conduct says that you're supposed to be, nice to everybody in the courtroom. Another example, he shows up late for court. I've had the judge himself show up late for court. It's like, Judge, Code of Judicial Conduct, section something, whatever it is, says you were supposed to be on time for court. And so now what you do in the motion is you go, Judge, you did the following things wrong. Boom, boom, boom. You violated the following cases. Boom, 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 or whatever. And then the next thing you do is another scriptural principle. Matthew 5:5 says that he who shows mercy shall be given mercy. So another way to say that is, he who shows no mercy will have no mercy shown. So I say to the judge, look, according to Matthew 5:5, if I don't show you mercy, I'll have no mercy shown. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just forgive you for what you did up here in points 1 through 6, all your violations of the Code of Judicial Conduct or statutes or whatever. And I'm just going to ask you that you take some action to level the playing field and just make this thing just a fair fight. And what happens is, now the principle of reciprocity kicks in. You've forgiven him. He's got to do something for you. Have you heard that story about, they set up a study in a college somewhere, and the way they set it up was this way. They're going to have an interviewee be interviewed by the interviewer. And so they go in, they say, do the interview, and then when they get done, they say, okay, thank you very much. Oh, by the way, my daughter is selling Girl Scout cookies. Bye. And she would like to know if you'd like to buy some Girl Scout cookies. I'm trying to help her out. You want to buy some Girl Scout cookies? And a very high percentage of those people declined. Nah, I don't want any cookies. They left or whatever. Then they had the interviewer, before the interview started, go out in the hall and get a couple cans of pop. So he comes in, pop for the interviewee, one for him, and then at the end says, my daughter's selling Girl Scout cookies. Would you like some? And it jumped. It was like 4 times more people bought Girl Scout cookies just over a can of pop. Yeah, it's called the principle of reciprocity. So as soon as you do something for the judge, it's just human nature that he's got to do something for you. And that's what the 8 motions in here, of the 8 that are in here, 6 of them resulted in a noticeable difference in the case. And I haven't totaled up how many of them just straight up resulted in just a total positive outcome.